They thought weakness had a face, thought it wore silence like a uniform and restraint like a wound. They were wrong about all of it, and by the time they learned the truth, 3 men would be on the ground and a nuclear convoy would be burning in the dark. But that comes later. Right now, at 0340 on a Tuesday morning in July, Fort Bragg looks like every other military installation in the Carolinas. Heat that never quite dies even at night. Humidity thick enough to taste. Moths circling the floodlights at the main gate like they know something the rest of us don't. The diesel engine growls before you see it. 4 armored trucks rolling through the checkpoint in formation, headlights cutting through the haze like knives. The guard steps out of his booth, clipboard ready, hand resting casual on his sidearm the way they teach you when the cargo matters more than the paperwork. The lead driver rolls down his window. Marine Corps. You can tell by the haircut before you see the uniform. Sharp enough to cut bread, close enough to the scalp that sweat beads on skin instead of hair. Sir Pantek's shipment, scheduled hold Hangar 7. The guard checks his sheet, nods once, waves them through without another word because when you're moving warheads, small talk is a security risk. The convoy rolls deeper into the base, past the obstacle course where tomorrow's generation of soldiers will learn to climb, and the day after that will learn to fall. Past the motor pool where mechanics smoke cigarettes in the shadows between trucks that cost more than houses. Past the enlisted barracks where men too young to rent cars sleep with rifles within arm's reach. The trucks pull into a hangar big enough to park a C-130. Floodlights snap on. Marines pour out, weapons ready, eyes scanning corners where shadows live. The unloading begins without orders because everyone here knows the protocol. You don't talk near the payload. You don't smoke. You don't take pictures. You move the cargo from point A to point B, and you pray to whatever God you believe in that nobody notices you doing it. Half a mile away, a single light burns in the instructor quarters. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Callahan stands at her window with binoculars she's not supposed to have, watching a convoy she's not supposed to know about. She's 35 but looks older in this light. Scars do that. The visible one runs down her left collarbone, gift from a sniper in Kandahar who missed her throat by 3 inches. The invisible ones don't show on x-rays, but they're there, written in the way she holds herself like she's always waiting for the next bullet. Her phone chimes on the desk behind her, not a vibration, a specific tone, 3 short beeps that mean encrypted message incoming. She doesn't turn around, just keeps watching the Marines move in their careful choreography of violence deferred. The phone sounds again, insistent now, different pattern, 4 beeps, priority message. She lowers the binoculars, picks up the phone. Encrypted text message, sender blocked, content burning itself into her retinas 1 word at a time. Nightfall protocol active. Enemy asset ON base, embedded in training program. Identity unknown. Convoy departure 48 hours, 0 disclosure, 0 backup. Cross. Sarah reads it twice, deletes it once. The message disappears like it was never there, which is the whole point of tradecraft. Leave no evidence. Trust no one. Complete the mission or die trying, preferably in that order. She walks to her desk, opens the top drawer. Inside, a photograph. 3 men in training fatigues, arms crossed, trying to look harder than they are. The camera caught them mid-laugh. The kind of moment that happens between the violence when soldiers remember they're still human. Sergeant First Class Ryan Bridger, 28 years old, Army Ranger, 3 tour in Afghanistan. His father was a colonel who died in Fallujah, and Ryan spent every day since trying to prove it wasn't genetic. Corporal Marcus Vega, 26, Marine Force Recon, grew up in El Paso where the cartel violence taught him that borders are just lines rich men draw on maps. Demolitions expert. Speaks Spanish like a native because he is one. Specialist Owen Hayes. 24, Navy EOD. The kind of quiet that makes people nervous because they don't know if he's thinking deep thoughts or planning their murder. Photographic memory. Can build or dismantle anything that explodes. Sarah pulls a red pen from the cup on her desk, circles Bridger's face, then erases it, circles Vega, erases that too, circles Hayes, stares at it, erases it slow. She doesn't know which one is the traitor. That's the problem with good spies. They look exactly like everyone else until the moment they don't, and by then it's too late to do anything but count the bodies. Her phone rings. Actual call this time, she answers. Understood. Beginning observation. The voice on the other end is female, crisp, professional. Remember the rules. Zero disclosure means zero, not to base command, not to your team, not to God himself if he asks. You're alone on this one. Sarah types into the encrypted chat on her laptop. I've been alone before. She closes the laptop, looks out the window one more time. The hangar lights are dimming now. The Marines have secured the convoy. 12 men with rifles standing guard over enough nuclear firepower to glass a city. They think they're protecting America. They don't know one of them might be selling it. Sarah kills her light, lies down on her bunk fully dressed, boots still laced. Sleep won't come, but she goes through the motions anyway. Closes her eyes, controls her breathing, tries not to think about the last time she trusted the wrong person and how it ended with a folded flag and a 21-gun salute. 6 hours later, the sun comes up like it's angry about something. Fort Bragg at 0600 is organized chaos. Cadence calls echoing off concrete, boots on gravel in rhythm. The smell of diesel and gun oil and coffee strong enough to strip paint. 42 men stand at attention on the parade ground, shoulders back, eyes forward, pretending they're not sweating through their uniforms already. Sarah walks onto the field from the east. No announcement, no fanfare, just the soft crunch of her boots on gravel and the weight of 42 pairs of eyes tracking her movement like she's a target and they're all snipers. She doesn't look like what they expected. That's the first thing they notice. She's 5'6" in boots, lean in the way that comes from running instead of lifting, hair pulled back tight enough to hurt. No makeup, no jewelry, just the uniform and the trident on her chest that tells you everything you need to know about who she is and what she's done. She walks the line slow, inspecting. Not the uniforms, those don't matter. The eyes, that's where you find the truth. Fear or arrogance or confusion or the flat dead nothing that means someone's seen too much and felt too little. She stops in front of Bridger. He's taller than her by half a foot, broader by 40 pounds, and he looks down at her like gravity's on his side. You're the SEAL instructor. His voice carries. Meant to, some men need an audience to feel brave. Sarah doesn't blink, doesn't smile, doesn't give him anything to work with. Problem, Sergeant. No, ma'am, just unexpected. He says it like a compliment but means it like an insult. Sarah knows the difference. She's heard it in a dozen languages from men in a dozen countries, all of them surprised that someone who looks like her can do what she does. She moves on, stops at Vega. He's got a smirk playing at the corner of his mouth, the kind that says he's in on a joke nobody told yet. Ma'am, heard you got a silver star for not shooting someone. That's correct. Must be nice. My buddies got theirs for kills. The other men shift. Not much. Just enough to show they're listening. Sarah lets the silence stretch. Lets Vega stand there with his smirk while the sun climbs higher and the temperature pushes toward triple digits. Medals don't measure worth, Corporal. They measure moments. If you don't understand the difference, you will. She moves to Hayes. He's smaller than the other two, wiry instead of bulky, and he won't meet her eyes. His hands are clasped behind his back tight enough that his knuckles have gone white. Ma'am. Specialist Hayes, your EOD. Yes, ma'am. Good, I'll need your help later. Hayes blinks, confused with what, ma'am? You'll know when the time comes. She doesn't explain, doesn't elaborate, just moves to the front of the formation and turns to face them all. 42 men who think they know what war is because they've trained for it. None of them understand yet that the real war is the one you fight with yourself when you have a clear shot and a righteous reason, and you choose not to take it. I'm Commander Sarah Callahan. I'm here to teach you restraint. Someone in the back row coughs. It might be a laugh, might not be. Sarah doesn't acknowledge it. Restraint is not weakness. It's accuracy with purpose. Any of you can pull a trigger. A child can pull a trigger. What separates an operator from a killer is knowing when not to. Bridger's jaw tightens. You can see it even from 15 feet away. The muscle jumping, the teeth grinding. He's thinking about his father, about Fallujah, about how restraint might have saved a life or cost one depending on who's telling the story. Sarah keeps talking. Today we're running disarm drills, unarmed defense against armed assault. I need a volunteer. Nobody moves. The smart ones never do. Volunteering is how you end up humiliated in front of your peers, and nobody wants to be the lesson. Sarah waits, lets the silence build, then she points. Sergeant Bridger, front and center. He walks out of formation like he's going to a fist fight. All shoulders and swagger. Stops 3 feet from her, close enough that she has to look up to meet his eyes. Basic disarm, she says. You have the weapon, I don't. Your objective is to maintain control. Mine is to take it. We go until one of us succeeds or yields. Clear. Yes, ma'am. She hands him a training rifle, weighted to match an M4, rubber stock, non-functioning bolt. He takes it in both hands, settles into a modified combat stance, plants his feet like he's done this before. Begin. Bridger doesn't hesitate. He lunges, trying to use his size advantage, drive her back with the stock aimed at her sternum. It's aggressive. It's fast. It's exactly what she expected. Sarah doesn't step back. She steps in, closes the distance before he can generate momentum. Her left hand comes up under the barrel, redirects it past her shoulder while her right hand finds his forward elbow. 3 pounds of pressure in exactly the right spot, and his arm straightens involuntary, biomechanics overriding intention. She pivots. His own forward momentum carries him past her. She maintains control of the rifle, twists it counterclockwise, and he has a choice. Let go or break his wrist. He lets go. The rifle is in her hands before he processes what happened. He's stumbling, off balance, and she's standing still with his weapon pointed at the ground and her expression unchanged. The formation is silent, not the kind of silence that means nothing, the kind that means everything. Bridger straightens. His face is red, could be exertion, could be humiliation, probably both. Thank you, Sergeant. Sarah hands him back the rifle like she's returning a borrowed pen. No gloating, no lecture, just the simple transfer of an object from one hand to another. She turns to the formation. That was 3 seconds, 3 movements, 0 strikes. Violence is easy, precision is earned, class dismissed. The men break formation slow. Nobody runs. Nobody talks. They just drift toward the barracks in clusters, and you can tell by the way they move that they're rethinking something fundamental about strength and what it looks like. Bridger doesn't move. He stands there holding the rifle like it betrayed him, Vega approaches, says something too quiet to hear. Bridger shakes his head, walks away alone. Sarah watches him go, makes a mental note. Pride is useful. It makes men predictable. But wounded pride makes them dangerous, and dangerous men make mistakes. She needs him to make mistakes, all three of them. Because mistakes reveal character, and character reveals motive, and motive is how you find a spy. That night in the barracks, the lights go out at 2200 hours like they always do. Most of the men are asleep by 22:15. Training does that. Exhausts the body until the mind has no choice but to follow. But three men are still awake. Bridger sits on the edge of his bunk, rolling a resistance band between his palms like he's trying to strangle it. Vega leans against the wall near the lockers, arms crossed, watching the shadows. Hayes paces near the window, moving in tight circles like a man trying to walk off energy he doesn't have. She made you look like an amateur, Vega says. His voice is low, but it carries in the dark. Bridger doesn't look up. She got lucky. Luck, Vega laughs, but there's no humor in it. Brother, that wasn't luck. That was training, real training. She's soft, Bridger says. The words come out hard like he's trying to convince himself. All that restraint garbage, that gets you killed in the real world. Maybe, Hayes says quietly, or maybe it keeps you from killing the wrong person. Bridger looks at him sharp. You taking her side? I'm not taking anyone's side. I'm just saying she had a point. The point of a gun is to shoot people, Bridger snaps. Everything else is politics. Vega pushes off the wall. So what are you going to do about it? Bridger finally looks up. His eyes have adjusted to the dark, and they catch the ambient light from the window, reflect it back cold. I'm going to test her, see if all that restraint holds up when things get real. Hayes stops pacing. Test her how? Bridger stands, walks to his locker, opens it. Inside, his personal kit, tactical gear he brought from his last deployment. He pulls out a training rifle, checks the weight, tests the balance. We're going to run a scenario, off the books, see how she reacts under pressure. Vega grins. I'm listening. Night drill. We stage an ambush. Nothing that breaks regs, just close quarters, high stress, see if she freezes or fights. And if she reports us, Hayes asks. Bridger looks at him. She won't. SEALs don't snitch, it's a code thing. Hayes doesn't look convinced, but he doesn't argue. Just nods slow and goes back to his bunk. Vega claps Bridger on the shoulder. When? Tomorrow night, power failure drill. Whole base goes dark for 30 minutes. We use the confusion. Perfect. They go quiet after that, settle into their bunks, close their eyes, but none of them sleep, not really. They're too busy thinking about tomorrow, about what happens when you push someone who doesn't push back. What they don't know, what they can't know, is that Sarah is thinking about tomorrow too. She sits in her quarters with her laptop open, reviewing their files for the fourth time. Bridger's financial records show a $15,000 deposit 3 months ago. Source listed as inheritance, but his father died 7 years back and the estate was settled in 2018. The money came from somewhere else. Vega has a brother in El Paso currently serving 18 months for smuggling. The connection to the cartels is thin, but it's there. And cartels don't discriminate. They recruit soldiers, cops, politicians, anyone with access and a price. Hayes is clean, too clean, no debt, no vices, no red flags at all, which is its own kind of red flag because everybody has something. The question is whether his something is relevant or just human. Sarah closes the files, opens a new encrypted chat, types. All 3 suspects hostile. Provocation likely within 48 hours. Requesting permission to let scenario play out. The response comes back fast. Permission granted. Document everything. Engage only if necessary. Remember the convoy timeline. Sarah closes the laptop, walks to her window, looks out at the base. Somewhere out there, 3 men are planning to test her. Somewhere else, a traitor is planning to steal a nuclear warhead. And she's caught in the middle with no backup, no support, and no good options. She touches the scar on her collarbone, remembers the day she got it, the choice she made, fire or hold, kill or spare. She held and a family lived, and her teammate took the bullet that was meant for her. They gave her a medal for that, called it tactical restraint. What they didn't understand was that it wasn't restraint at all. It was precision. She knew exactly what she was doing and exactly what it would cost. The question now is whether she's willing to pay that price again. The next day passes in routine. PT at 05:30, breakfast at 06:45, classroom instruction at 0800. Sarah teaches them the theory behind close-quarters combat, the biomechanics of disarmament, the psychology of de-escalation. Most of them listen. Some don't. Bridger takes notes, but his handwriting gets harder as the day goes on, pressing into the paper like he's trying to hurt it. At 1300 hours, Sarah runs them through live drills. Hand-to-hand, 2-person teams, rotating partners every 5 minutes. She watches Hayes work. He's technically proficient but hesitant, pulls his strikes, apologizes when he lands them. The kind of soldier who'd rather die than hurt someone, which makes him noble and useless in equal measure. Vega is the opposite. Controlled aggression. Every movement economical, every strike with intent. He's fought before, outside the training mat. You can tell by the way he protects his ribs, old break that healed wrong, and the way he never fully commits to a takedown because he's always thinking about the next attacker. Bridger doesn't rotate partners. He stays with the same guy, a private from Georgia who outweighs him by 30 pounds. They go hard, too hard. Sarah watches Bridger throw the private to the mat 3 times in 2 minutes, each one harder than the last. Sergeant Bridger. He looks up, sweat dripping, breathing hard. You're fighting angry. That makes you sloppy. I'm fighting effective, ma'am. No, you're fighting emotional. There's a difference. The private on the mat groans, rolls to his side. Sarah walks over, offers him a hand up. He takes it, stands shaky. Take 5, private. The kid nods, limps away. Sarah turns back to Bridger. With me, let's see if you can channel that energy into technique. They square up. No mats, just the hard-packed dirt of the training field and the sun overhead and 40 men watching to see what happens when ego meets experience. Ready? Sarah asks. Bridger doesn't answer, just comes at her. Fast, aggressive, all the restraint gone. He throws a right hook that would cave in a jaw if it landed. It doesn't land. Sarah slips it by millimeters, lets his momentum carry him past, sweeps his lead leg. He stumbles but doesn't fall, catches himself, spins back. She's already moving, closes distance. Her palm strikes his solar plexus, not hard enough to drop him but hard enough to empty his lungs. He gasps, backs up, and she's on him. Locks his wrist, rotates it, applies pressure to the joint until he has to choose. Tap or snap. He taps. She releases him immediately, steps back. No triumph, no commentary, just the clinical dispassion of someone who's done this 10,000 times and will do it 10,000 more. Emotion makes you predictable, she says quietly. Predictable gets you killed. Bridger straightens. He's breathing like he ran a mile. Everyone watching can see it, can see him beaten by someone half his size who didn't even break a sweat. Dismissed, Sarah says. The formation scatters. Bridger stands there for a moment longer, staring at her like he's trying to solve an equation that doesn't add up. Then he walks away, and Sarah knows with absolute certainty that whatever he was planning for tonight just got accelerated. 2200 hours, the lights go out. Not all at once, that would be suspicious, but in waves, section by section, like a power grid failing in sequence. Emergency protocols kick in, generators cough to life, backup lights flicker on in critical areas, everything else goes dark. Sarah is in her quarters when it happens. She doesn't react, just sits in the dark listening, boots on gravel, radio chatter, controlled chaos as the base shifts into emergency mode. Her phone displays a notification, message from base command. Scheduled power failure drill, duration 30 minutes, all non-essential personnel remain in quarters. Sarah dismisses the message, straps on her sidearm, steps outside. The compound is a maze of shadows. Emergency lights create pools of visibility surrounded by darkness absolute. Perfect conditions for an ambush if you know what you're looking for. Sarah knows what she's looking for. She walks the perimeter road, heading toward the training sector. Her boots make almost no sound. SEAL training does that. Teaches you to move like smoke, be there and gone before anyone notices the difference. She's 50 meters from the equipment shed when she hears them. 3 sets of footsteps, different rhythms, different weights, trying to be quiet and failing. They step out of the shadows ahead, blocking her path, Bridger in the center, Vega to his left, Hayes to his right, all 3 holding training rifles, weighted, rubber stocks, non-lethal but they'll leave a mark. "Ma'am," Bridger says, "dangerous to be out here alone." His voice is different, harder. "This isn't a test anymore, this is something else." "Stand aside, Sergeant." Vega shifts his weight. "We're just concerned for your safety." Hayes doesn't say anything. He's looking at Sarah like he's trying to read something written in a language he doesn't speak. "Last chance," Sarah says, "stand down." Bridger steps forward. The stock of his rifle comes up, not quite aimed, not quite a threat, but the implication is clear. "Or what? You'll freeze like you did in Kabul." Sarah's expression doesn't change, doesn't give him the satisfaction. That's when Hayes moves. Not Bridger, not Vega, Hayes. The quiet one, the hesitant one, the one who apologizes when he lands strikes. He comes from her right side, rifle raised, and swings the stock hard, aimed at her ribs, lower back, kidney shot, the kind that drops you gasping. Sarah sees it coming, could block it, could sidestep, could draw her sidearm and end this in a heartbeat. She doesn't. She takes the hit. The impact drives air from her lungs. Pain explodes bright and immediate. She drops to one knee, hand braced against the ground, fighting to breathe. The 3 of them stand over her, waiting, expecting her to cry out, to call for help, to fight back. She does none of those things. Instead, she looks up, directly at Hayes, and in the emergency lights her eyes are calm, almost sad. "Is that all you've got?" Hayes freezes. The rifle slips in his grip. Something passes across his face, too fast to name. Bridger laughs. "It's not a good sound." "Get up, you're embarrassing yourself." Sarah stands, slow, every movement controlled. Her breathing is measured despite the pain screaming through her side. She looks at each of them in turn, Bridger, Vega, Hayes. Then she walks away. No threats, no warnings, no report to command. Just one foot in front of the other until she's out of the light and back into the shadows where she belongs. Behind her, the 3 men stand in silence. "What the hell just happened?" Vega asks. Bridger doesn't answer. He's staring after her, watching her disappear into the dark, and for the first time since this started he looks uncertain. Hayes is shaking. The rifle trembles in his hands. "I didn't mean to hit her that hard," he whispers. "She took it," Vega says, "didn't even flinch." "Because she's weak," Bridger says, but his voice lacks conviction now. They stand there for another moment. Then the lights come back on, all at once. The drill is over. Reality returns. And with it, the slow creeping realization that they just crossed a line they can't uncross. Sarah makes it back to her quarters before the pain gets too bad. She closes the door, locks it, sits on her bunk and lifts her shirt. The bruise is already forming, dark purple spreading across her lower back. She touches it, winces, catalogs the damage. Soft tissue trauma. No fractures. She'll be pissing blood tomorrow, but nothing's ruptured. She pulls out her phone, opens the encrypted chat, types with steady fingers despite the pain. Hayes struck first. Bridger and Vega participated, but Hayes committed. Recommend immediate surveillance on Hayes. Suspect he may be the asset. The response takes longer this time, a full minute, then. Negative. Do not focus on Hayes exclusively. Could be misdirection. Asset may be using Hayes as cover. Continue observation of all three. Convoy departure in 36 hours. Sarah stares at the message, reads it again, realizes what it's saying. Hayes attacking her wasn't spontaneous. It was calculated. Someone told him to do it. Someone who wanted Sarah to focus on Hayes while they moved freely. She types back. Understood. Expanding surveillance. Require medical evaluation to maintain cover. Will report training accident. Send. She stands, walks to her mirror, looks at herself. The bruise will be visible tomorrow. She'll need to explain it. Training accident is plausible, common enough in special operations. But that's not what bothers her. What bothers her is Hayes' face in that moment, the fear in his eyes, the hesitation before he swung. That wasn't the face of a spy. That was the face of someone following orders they didn't understand. Which means Hayes is either the best actor she's ever seen, or he's being played. And if he's being played, that means the real asset is still out there, still watching, still waiting. Her phone alerts her with a subtle ping, different number, unknown sender. The message is simple. Stop investigating or the convoy doesn't leave alive. A friend. Sarah reads it, deletes it, sits in the dark with her bruised ribs and her loaded sidearm and the growing certainty that this mission just became exponentially more complicated. 36 hours until the convoy moves. 36 hours to find a traitor in a base of 5,000 soldiers. 36 hours to stop a theft that could change the balance of power in ways that make her blood run cold. She lies back on her bunk, closes her eyes, thinks about Hayes and that moment of eye contact before he struck. The way he looked at her like he was asking for forgiveness before committing the sin. People think silence is weakness. That restraint is fear. They don't understand that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is take the hit and keep walking. Because the real war isn't fought with fists or rifles or training in the dark. It's fought in the spaces between action and reaction, in the choice to strike or hold, to trust or suspect. Sarah Callahan has fought that war for 11 years, in Kandahar and Fallujah and places whose names are still classified. She's won some battles and lost others, and the scar on her collarbone is proof that winning and surviving aren't always the same thing. Tomorrow she'll report to medical, document the injury, maintain her cover. And she'll watch, all three of them, Bridger with his wounded pride, Vega with his controlled violence, Hayes with his fearful eyes. One of them is a traitor, or one of them is a pawn, or maybe it's someone else entirely, someone she hasn't even considered yet. But she'll find them. She always does. Outside her window, Fort Bragg settles into the quiet hours before dawn. The convoy sits in Hangar 7 under guard. 12 Marines who don't know that somewhere in this base, someone is planning to kill them and take what they're protecting. Sarah touches her ribs, feels the pain, uses it. Pain keeps you sharp, keeps you focused, reminds you what's at stake. And right now, what's at stake is everything. Dawn comes to Fort Bragg the way it always does. Slow, then all at once. The sky bleeds from black to gray to that particular shade of Carolina blue that makes you think of flags and photographs of men who never came home. The heat follows close behind, climbing with the sun until by 0600 it's already pushing 80, and the humidity makes breathing feel like work. Sarah Callahan walks into the medical building at 0615. The bruise on her lower back has spread overnight, dark purple bleeding into yellow-green at the edges. It hurts to breathe deep, hurts worse to twist. But pain is just information, and right now the information says she needs documentation. The medic on duty is a Navy corpsman named Peters, 23 years old, fresh from San Diego, still young enough to believe the uniform makes you invincible. He takes one look at the bruising and his eyes go wide. "Ma'am, what happened?" "Training accident, close quarters drill, took a stock to the ribs." Peters doesn't look convinced, but he knows better than to ask questions above his pay grade. He runs through the examination with professional efficiency, palpates the injury, checks for internal bleeding, orders an X-ray just to be safe. The X-ray comes back clean. No fractures, no breaks, just soft tissue damage that'll hurt like hell for a week and fade to nothing by the end of the month. "You're lucky, ma'am, could have been worse." Sarah signs the paperwork, takes the bottle of ibuprofen Peters offers, walks out into the morning sun with her injury officially on record and her cover intact. What she doesn't see is the man watching from across the compound, standing in the shadow between two buildings, close enough to observe, far enough to stay invisible. He watches Sarah limp slightly as she walks, watches her favor her left side, makes a note on his phone and sends a message to a number with no name. She's documented the injury. Medical says training accident. She's maintaining cover. The response arrives instantly. "Good, proceed to phase 2. The man deletes both messages, pockets his phone, walks away in the opposite direction, and nobody notices him because that's the whole point. Spies don't stand out. They blend. They become part of the scenery until the moment they need to be something else. Sarah makes it back to her quarters, closes the door, leans against it for a moment and lets herself feel the full weight of what's happening. 34 hours until the convoy moves. 34 hours to identify a traitor in a base of 5,000 souls. 34 hours to stop a theft that could put nuclear material in the hands of people who'd use it without hesitation. Her phone rings. She pulls it out, expecting another encrypted message from her handler. Instead, it's a text from Colonel Travis Hale, base commander, former SEAL, the man who recruited her into special operations 12 years ago when she was just another kid from nowhere with something to prove. "My office, 20 minutes, bring coffee." Sarah almost smiles. Almost. Hale's been using that line since she was a lieutenant junior grade. Bring coffee, code for we need to talk off the record. She changes into a clean uniform, straps her sidearm, stops at the commissary for 2 black coffees in disposable cups, walks across the base to the command building where decisions get made and careers get ended. Hale's office is on the 3rd floor, corner room, Windows facing east so he can watch the sun come up and remember why he does this job. The door is open when Sarah arrives. She knocks anyway. Come. Hale sits behind his desk, reading glasses perched on his nose, going through a stack of reports that'll be outdated by lunch. He's 54 but looks every year of it today. Gray hair cut military short. Scars on his hands from a career spent doing things he can't talk about. He glances up when Sarah enters, nods at the chair across from him. She sets one coffee on his desk, keeps the other, sits. You look like hell, he says. Thank you, sir. Medical report says training accident. That true? Sarah meets his eyes, doesn't blink. Yes, sir. Hale takes off his glasses, rubs the bridge of his nose. He's tired, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. I've known you 11 years, Sarah. Taught you half of what you know. Learned the other half watching you work. So when you sit in my office and lie to my face, I'd appreciate it if you'd do a better job. She doesn't respond, just waits. Hale taught her that too. Silence is a weapon, use it. 3 of my trainees put hands on you last night, he says. Power failure drill. Dark compound. They cornered you near the equipment shed, and one of them hit you hard enough to put you in medical. Don't insult my intelligence by calling it an accident. Sarah sets her coffee down. How do you know? Because I have eyes everywhere. Same as you. Difference is my eyes report to me. Yours report to someone else. The words hang in the air between them. Sarah calculates responses. Denial won't work. Hale's too smart. Confirmation is dangerous. She doesn't know who to trust. I can't discuss ongoing operations, she says carefully. Hale leans back in his chair. The leather creaks. Outside the window, a formation runs past, their cadence call echoing off concrete. Let me tell you what I think is happening, he says. I think NCIS or CIA or one of those alphabet agencies sent you here undercover. I think you're investigating something related to that convoy sitting in Hangar 7. And I think whatever you're investigating, you're doing it alone because someone high up doesn't trust the chain of command. Sarah's expression doesn't change, but her pulse ticks up. Hale notices. He always does. Am I close? Close enough, sir. And those 3 men who attacked you, Bridger, Vega, Hayes, you think one of them is involved in whatever this is. That's one theory. What's another? Sarah considers how much to reveal, decides on calculated honesty. Another theory is that they're being manipulated, used as a distraction while the real asset operates freely. Smart, Hale says. That's what I do. Find the loudest people in the room and make everyone watch them while I work quietly in the corner. He stands, walks to the window, looks out at the base he commands but doesn't control because control is an illusion, and anyone who's served long enough knows it. I'm going to tell you something, Sarah, off the record, just between us. She nods. I've been getting pressure from above, questions about base security, unusual inquiries about the convoy schedule. Someone very high up the chain is asking questions they shouldn't need to ask. Who? That's the problem. The requests come through official channels, but they're vague, bureaucratic, the kind that give you plausible deniability if things go sideways. Sarah stands, joins him at the window. You think the leak is above base level? I think the leak is everywhere, Hale says. I think we're compromised at multiple levels, and the only reason we're not all dead already is because whoever's running this wants something specific from that convoy. What do they want? Hale looks at her, really looks, the way he used to when she was young and green, and he was trying to decide if she had what it took to survive. They want a warhead, Sarah, just one, small enough to move, powerful enough to level a city, and they want it clean, no trail, no evidence, just gone. How do you know? Because 3 weeks ago, one of my intel officers intercepted chatter. Foreign language. Encrypted. We couldn't crack all of it, but we got enough. Someone's paying $20 million for a W-87 warhead. Cash. Delivered within 72 hours of the convoy's arrival. Sarah's mind races. W-87s are thermonuclear. Hydrogen bombs. 300 kilotons. Enough to turn Manhattan into a crater. Who's buying? We don't know. Could be state actors. Could be private. Could be someone who just wants to watch the world burn. And you didn't report this. Hale turns to face her full. I reported it up the chain. Got told to stand down. Told the intel was unreliable. Told to focus on my job and let the adults handle the big picture. He walks back to his desk, opens a drawer, pulls out a file folder, slides it across to Sarah. So I did my job, documented everything, made copies, and now I'm giving those copies to someone I trust. Sarah opens the folder. Inside, transcripts of the intercepted communications, analysis reports, financial tracking showing money moving through shell companies in the Caymans, and photographs, 3 faces she doesn't recognize. Who are they? Hale points to the first photo, Marcus Vega's brother, serving time in El Paso for smuggling. The second photo, Ryan Bridger's father's former commanding officer, now working as a defense contractor. The third photo, Owen Hayes' college roommate, currently employed by a tech firm with due contracts. Connections, Hale says, not proof, but enough to make me nervous. You think all 3 are involved? I think all 3 are vulnerable, which makes them targets for recruitment. But I also think you're right about the distraction theory. This feels orchestrated. Sarah closes the folder. By who? Hale sits down. By someone smart enough to know that the best way to hide a conspiracy is to make everyone think they've found it. They sit in silence for a moment. Outside, the base continues its daily rhythm, drills and formations and the endless preparation for wars that may never come. What do you need from me, sir? Hale picks up his coffee, takes a long drink, sets it down. I need you to do your job, whatever that job is, whoever you're working for. But I also need you to know that when this goes bad, and it will go bad, you're not alone. You have backup whether you asked for it or not. Sarah nods once. Thank you, sir. And Sarah, one more thing. Sir. Those 3 men, Bridger, Vega, Hayes, they made a mistake last night, but mistakes don't make them enemies. Fear makes them human. Remember that when the time comes to decide who lives and who doesn't. She stands, takes the folder, walks to the door. Understood, sir. She's halfway out when Hale speaks again. Your handler, whoever they are, do you trust them? Sarah stops, doesn't turn around. I trust the mission, sir. That's not what I asked. She looks back over her shoulder. Hale is watching her with the expression of a man who's seen too many good soldiers die following bad orders. No, sir, I don't. Good, he says. Neither do I. Sarah leaves. The folder feels heavy in her hands even though it weighs less than a pound. Information has weight. Truth has mass. And right now she's carrying enough of both to change everything. She makes it back to her quarters, locks the door, spreads the contents of the folder across her desk, studies the connections, the money trails, the relationships. Her phone rings with an incoming call, encrypted. Report status. Sarah stares at the phone, at the caller ID that says unknown, at the voice she's been taking orders from but has never met. She thinks about Hale's question, Do you trust your handler? She thinks about the message she received last night. Stop investigating or the convoy doesn't leave alive. She thinks about Hayes hitting her in the dark and the fear in his eyes. She answers, all three suspects under surveillance. No definitive identification yet. Continuing observation. The response is immediate. Time is running short. We need results. Consider enhanced interrogation. Sarah's jaw tightens. Enhanced interrogation. Polite words for torture. For breaking people until they tell you what you want to hear, whether it's true or not. Negative. Will compromise cover and alert the asset. The response takes longer this time. 30 seconds that feel like 30 minutes. Your call, but if that convoy is hit, it's on you. Sarah ends the call, sits in the quiet of her quarters, and tries to ignore the voice in her head that sounds suspiciously like doubt. The day passes in training. Sarah runs her class through urban combat drills, building clearing, room entry, the delicate art of deciding in half a second whether the person in front of you is a threat or a victim. Bridger moves through the drills with aggressive precision. He's good, better than good. The kind of soldier who'd walk through fire if you gave him a reason and a target. But he's also angry. You can see it in the way he clears corners, the way he doesn't wait for his team, the way he treats every scenario like a personal vendetta. Vega is smoother, controlled. He works with his team instead of despite them, covers angles, communicates, but there's something underneath, a calculation, like he's always running numbers in his head, always 3 moves ahead, always looking for the advantage. Hayes is different, technically perfect but emotionally absent. He goes through the motions without engagement, does exactly what he's trained to do and nothing more. The kind of soldier who'd follow orders off a cliff because orders are orders and thinking is someone else's job. Sarah watches all three, makes mental notes, tries to see past the surface to whatever truth is hiding underneath. At 1500 hours, she calls a break. The men scatter to the shade, drinking water in the heat that's climbed past 95. Sarah stands alone in the sun and lets it burn because discomfort keeps you sharp. Hayes approaches, nervous, eyes down. Ma'am, can I speak with you? Sarah turns to face him. Go ahead, specialist. About last night, I just wanted to say, his voice trails off. He looks at his boots like they might have the words he's missing. Say what? Hayes looks up, meets her eyes for the first time. I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't want to do it, but they said if I didn't, I'd be the next target. Who said that? Hayes glances around, making sure no one's close enough to hear. Bridger, he said we had to test you, see if you'd break. Said if I didn't help, he'd make my life hell. Sarah keeps her expression neutral, and Vega. He just went along with it. I don't think he cared either way. He just likes the action. Why are you telling me this now? Because I saw the medical report, saw how bad I hurt you, and I can't sleep, ma'am, can't eat, keep seeing your face when I hit you, the way you looked at me like you were disappointed. Sarah lets the silence stretch. Hayes stands there, waiting, looking younger than his 24 years. You want absolution, she says quietly. I want to make it right. Then make better choices going forward. What's done is done. Hayes nods, starts to walk away, stops. Ma'am, one more thing. What? Be careful around Bridger. He's planning something, I don't know what, but he's been making calls, late at night, speaking Spanish. Sarah's pulse ticks up. To who? I don't know, but he's scared, really scared, and scared people do stupid things. Hayes walks away before she can ask more questions. Sarah watches him go, processes the information. Bridger speaking Spanish, making calls, scared. She pulls out her phone, not the encrypted one, her regular cell, opens the browser, searches for Bridger's father, finds the obituary from 2018, reads it again. Colonel Marcus Bridger, killed in action, Fallujah, friendly fire incident, survived by his wife and son. She digs deeper, finds news articles from the time, military investigation. The official report blamed confusion in close quarters, fog of war, tragic accident. But there's another article, smaller, from a military blog, written by someone who was there. Someone who said the friendly fire wasn't an accident, said Colonel Bridger was killed because he found out about weapons smuggling, about officers selling American arms to insurgents for cash. The article was scrubbed a week after it posted, but the internet remembers everything. Sarah finds it cached on a server in Iceland, reads the whole thing. The author doesn't name names, just says that Colonel Bridger was murdered to protect a conspiracy that went all the way to the top, that his death was covered up, that his son was told lies. Sarah sits back, stares at the screen. If Ryan Bridger thinks his father was murdered, if he thinks the military killed him and covered it up, if he spent the last 7 years carrying that rage, then he's exactly the kind of person a foreign intelligence service would recruit, not for money, for revenge. She opens the encrypted app, types a message. Need full background on Ryan Bridger. Focus on contacts in the last 6 months. Prioritize foreign nationals and defense contractors. Send. The response comes back fast. That's outside scope of current mission. Focus on immediate threat. Sarah stares at the message, feels something cold settle in her chest. She types back. Bridger is the immediate threat. His father was killed in a smuggling conspiracy. He has motive for revenge against the military. The response is immediate and final. Noted, continue surveillance. Do not engage without authorization. Sarah closes the app, sits in the quiet, realizes something she should have seen earlier. Her handler doesn't want her to focus on Bridger. Every time she mentions him, she gets redirected, told to watch all 3, told to wait. Which means either her handler is incompetent, or her handler already knows about Bridger and doesn't want her interfering. She opens Hale's folder again, looks at the photo of Bridger's father's former commanding officer, the one who's now a defense contractor. She zooms in on the face, runs it through a reverse image search. The results make her blood run cold. The man in the photo, the defense contractor, he's also listed as a consultant for the NCIS office that sent Sarah here. He's connected to her handler. Sarah stands, walks to her window, looks out at the base and the people moving through it like pieces on a board they can't see. Someone very smart has been playing a very long game, using Bridger's rage, using Sarah's mission, using all of them as pieces in a conspiracy that she's only now beginning to understand. Her phone displays a text notification, different number, unknown sender. The message is simple. Hangar 7, midnight come alone, I have proof, Hayes. Sarah reads it 3 times, checks the number. It's Hayes' personal cell, not encrypted, not secure. Which means either Hayes is genuine and desperate, or someone's using his phone to set a trap. She has 8 hours to decide which. The sun sets over Fort Bragg in shades of orange and red that look like fire. The temperature drops, but not much, just enough that breathing gets easier and the sweat on your skin starts to cool. Sarah spends the evening preparing. She cleans her sidearm, loads extra magazines, puts on body armor under her jacket, Not standard procedure for a meeting on base, but standard procedure stops applying when you don't know who to trust. At 2300 hours, she leaves her quarters. The base is quiet. Most personnel are asleep or pretending to be. Security makes their rounds on schedule, predictable as clockwork. Sarah moves between the buildings like a shadow, staying off the main roads, using the terrain, old habits from a dozen deployments in places where visibility meant death. She reaches Hangar 7 at 2345. The guards are at their posts, 2 Marines alert scanning the perimeter. They don't see her approach from the east, staying low, using the maintenance vehicles for cover. She waits, watches, listens. At 2355, a figure approaches from the north. Moving casual, hands in pockets, it's Hayes. He stops 30 feet from the hangar entrance, looks around, nervous energy radiating off him like heat. Sarah moves, comes up behind him fast and quiet. Her hand on his shoulder makes him jump. Jesus, he spins, sees her, exhales, "Ma'am, you came. You said you had proof, show me." Hayes glances at the guards. "Not here, inside. There's a maintenance access. I have a key." "How?" "My roommate works logistics. I borrowed it." He leads her around the hangar to a small door marked authorized personnel only, uses a key card. The lock clicks green. They slip inside. The interior of Hangar 7 is massive. The convoy trucks sit in formation under harsh LED lights. The guards are outside. Inside, it's just metal and concrete, and the 4 vehicles containing enough nuclear material to end the world several times over. Hayes moves quickly to the second truck, opens a panel near the rear axle, pulls out a small device. "What is that?" Sarah asks. "GPS tracker. Someone put it here. I found it yesterday during inspection." Sarah takes the device, examines it, commercial grade, the kind you can buy online, battery life about 72 hours. "Who put it here?" "I don't know, but I know what it means. Someone's tracking this convoy, someone who's not supposed to know about it." Sarah pockets the tracker. "This is your proof." Hayes shakes his head. "There's more." He pulls out his phone, opens a voice recording app, presses play. The audio is muffled, 2 people talking. One voice Sarah recognizes as Bridger, the other she doesn't. Bridger's voice. "The convoy leaves at 0600 day after tomorrow. Route is classified, but I can get it." Unknown voice. "And the payment?" Bridger, "Half now, half when you have the package." Unknown voice. "Good, your father would be proud." Bridger, "Don't talk about my father." The recording cuts off. Sarah looks at Hayes. "Where did you get this?" "I bugged Bridger's phone, put a recording app on it when he wasn't looking. I've been suspicious for weeks. The late-night calls, the Spanish. He's up to something bad, ma'am, real bad." Sarah plays the recording again, listens carefully. The unknown voice has an accent, slight but there, Eastern European maybe, Russian. "When did you record this?" 2 days ago." "Have you told anyone else?" "No, ma'am, I came straight to you." Sarah thinks fast. The tracker, the recording, Hayes bringing her here alone. It adds up, or it's the best setup she's ever seen. "We need to get this to base command," she says. That's when the lights go out. Not emergency shutdown, not power failure, complete blackout, the kind that doesn't happen by accident. Hayes grabs her arm. "Ma'am, we need to move." Sarah draws her sidearm, activates the weapon light. The beam cuts through darkness absolute. "Stay close," she says. They move toward the exit, fast but controlled. Sarah's light sweeps corners, empty, clear, but her instincts are screaming. They're 10 feet from the door when it opens. 3 figures enter, backlit by exterior floods, carrying weapons, not training rifles, real ones. Sarah's light catches their faces. Bridger, Vega, and a third man she doesn't recognize. Commander Callahan, Bridger says, "Thanks for making this easy." Sarah's weapon comes up. Sidearm versus 3 rifles is bad math, but she's worked with worse odds. "Stand down, Sergeant. That's an order." Bridger laughs. "I don't take orders anymore. Not from you, not from anyone." Vega moves left, flanking. The unknown man moves right. Classic 3-point attack. Sarah's got maybe 2 seconds before they have her in a crossfire. Hayes steps forward, between Sarah and the guns. "Ryan, don't do this." Bridger's expression doesn't change. "Move, Owen." "I can't let you do this." "Then you'll die with her." Sarah makes her decision. She grabs Hayes, pulls him back toward the trucks, uses them for cover. Shots ring out. Bullets spark off metal. The sound in the enclosed space is deafening. Sarah returns fire. 2 rounds, aimed. One catches Vega in the shoulder. He goes down, not dead but out of the fight. Bridger and the unknown man scatter. Take cover behind equipment. The convoy trucks sit between them now. A metal barrier, temporary protection. Hayes is breathing hard, panicked. "They're going to kill us," he says. "Not if we're smarter," Sarah replies. She checks her ammunition. 15 rounds left, against 2 rifles with 30-round magazines. The math isn't getting better. Her radio, she keys it. Emergency channel. "All units, Hangar 7. Shots fired. Officer under attack." Static, no response. She tries again. Nothing. "They're jamming communications," she says. "Hello?" "Commercial jammer. Doesn't matter. What matters is we survive the next 5 minutes." Bridger's voice echoes through the hangar. "You can't call for help, Commander. We made sure of that, so here's how this works. You put down your weapon, walk out. We let you live, or you fight, and we take what we came for over your body." Sarah doesn't respond. She's counting. 3 enemies. No, 2. Vega's down. Bridger and the unknown. She whispers to Hayes, "Can you drive?" "What?" "These trucks, can you start them?" Hayes nods. "I think so. Bypass ignition, hot wire." "Do it. Get the second truck running. When I give the signal, you drive straight through that hangar door. Don't stop. Don't look back. Get to base command." "What about you?" "I'll provide cover. Now move." Hayes crawls to the second truck. Sarah watches Bridger's position, waits for movement. It comes, muzzle flash from behind a tool cabinet. Sarah returns fire, keeps Bridger pinned. Hayes is under the truck now, working. Sarah can hear him muttering, tools clanging. The unknown man tries to flank. Sarah catches him in the open, fires twice, both hit, center mass. He goes down hard. That's when she hears it, engine turning over, once, twice. Third time it catches, the truck roars to life. Now Sarah shouts. Hayes throws the truck in gear, stomps the accelerator. The vehicle lurches forward. 30 tons of armored transport aimed at a door designed to stop small arms fire but not momentum. Sarah runs, jumps onto the running board, holds on. Bridger emerges from cover, firing. Bullets punch through the truck's rear panels. Hayes doesn't slow. They hit the door at 40 miles per hour. The metal screams, tears, gives way. They're through, into the night, alarms blaring, guards shouting, chaos erupting across the base. Hayes keeps driving, straight toward the command building. Sarah holds on with one hand, her other still gripping her weapon. They skid to a stop in front of headquarters. Hayes kills the engine. They jump out. Base security is already responding. Weapons drawn, confused, trying to process the scene. Sarah flashes her credentials. Commander Sarah Callahan, NCIS. Hangar 7 is compromised. Lock down the base. Now. The security chief, a Marine captain, stares at her, then nods, starts barking orders. Sarah grabs Hayes. You did good, specialist. He's shaking. Adrenaline crash. I shot at them, he says, at Bridger, at Vega. They were my friends. They stopped being your friends when they tried to kill you. Within minutes, the base is locked down. All personnel confined to quarters. Security teams sweeping buildings. MPs moving to secure Hangar 7. Sarah walks into the command center. Hale is already there, still in his sleep clothes but wearing his sidearm. He sees her, sees the gun in her hand, the wild look in her eyes. Report, he says. Bridger attempted to steal from the convoy. Hayes and I interrupted, 2 hostiles down, 1 at large. Communications were jammed. This was coordinated. Hale processes this. His face goes hard. Get me NCIS on secure line, now. One of the comms officers starts dialing. Sarah pulls Hale aside. Sir, I need to tell you something. My handler, I think they're compromised. Hale doesn't look surprised. I know. You know. Sarah, I've been in this business 30 years. I know when someone's running a parallel operation. Question is, who are they really working for? That's what I need to find out. The comms officer calls out, Sir, NCIS on the line. Hale takes the phone. This is Colonel Hale, Fort Bragg. We have a situation. Someone just attempted to breach a classified convoy. I need immediate support. There's a pause. Hale's expression changes. He looks at Sarah. They're denying knowledge of any operation, saying they have no personnel on base. Sarah's stomach drops. That's impossible. They sent me. Hale covers the phone. Sarah, who exactly sent you here? Agent Nikki Cross, NCIS Special Operations Division. Hale uncovers the phone. Get me your Special Operations Division, right now. Another pause, longer this time. Hale's jaw tightens. They're saying there is no Agent Nikki Cross in their personnel database. Never has been. The room tilts. Sarah grabs the edge of the desk to steady herself. Everything she's been doing for the past week, every order she's followed, every risk she's taken. It wasn't NCIS. It was never NCIS. Someone else sent her here. Someone who wanted her focused on Bridger and Vega and Hayes while they executed their real plan. Her phone rings with an incoming call, the encrypted app. She pulls it out with shaking hands, opens the message. Well done, Sarah. You eliminated our competition. Bridger was getting sloppy. Now the convoy is ours, 20 million waiting. Walk away and I'll cut you in for 5. Or stay and watch everyone you care about die. Your choice. 30 seconds. Sarah stares at the screen, at the message, at the lie that's been her entire mission. She looks at Hale, at Hayes, at the base security personnel moving around the command center. 30 seconds to decide if she's the hero or the fool. 29. 28. She makes her choice, deletes the app, crushes the phone under her boot. Tell NCIS we have a rogue operative impersonating an agent. Tell them we need every available resource. Tell them if that convoy leaves this base, we're all dead. Hale nods, starts making calls. Sarah turns to Hayes. You said Bridger was making calls in Spanish. Did you recognize the voice on the other end? No, ma'am. Male or female? Hayes thinks female, definitely female. Sarah closes her eyes. Nikki Cross, if that's even her real name. A woman smart enough to infiltrate NCIS databases, to create a fake identity, to send Sarah here not to stop the theft but to help execute it. And now she's still out there, still has access, still has control. The alarm klaxon sounds across the base. Different pattern, not intrusion, not fire. The comms officer looks up. Sir, Hangar 7 reports unauthorized access. Someone's in the convoy. Hale and Sarah exchange looks. They run. By the time they reach the hangar, it's too late. The fourth truck is gone, driven straight through the back wall. Security footage shows a single driver, female, face obscured. She took one vehicle and 30 tons of classified material with it, left the other 3 behind. The guards are unconscious, not dead, professional work, non-lethal takedown, quick, efficient, gone. Sarah stands in the wreckage, looks at the hole in the wall, at the tire tracks leading into the darkness. Hale comes up beside her. How long do we have? Until she reaches the rendezvous point, maybe 4 hours. After that, she's gone, and so is the warhead. Can we track her? Sarah remembers the GPS tracker Hayes found, pulls it from her pocket. Maybe, if she doesn't know about this. She activates it, the screen lights up, shows a blinking dot moving south, fast. Highway 95, heading toward the state line. Sarah turns to Hale. I need a vehicle fast, armed, and I need Hayes. Hale doesn't hesitate. You'll have it, 5 minutes. Sir, this isn't your fight. Yes, it is. It became my fight the moment she drove through my base. Now go get her. Sarah and Hayes are in a Humvee 4 minutes later, armed, armored, moving. The GPS tracker shows the stolen truck 20 miles ahead, maintaining speed, no deviation. Hayes drives. Sarah rides shotgun. Between them sits enough weaponry to start a small war. You don't have to do this, Sarah says. Yes, I do. I let Bridger recruit me. I let fear make my decisions. I have to make this right. Making it right might get you killed. Hayes looks at her, grins. It's the first time she's seen him smile. Then I'll die doing something that matters, better than most people get. They drive into the night, chasing a ghost, chasing a lie, chasing $20 million and a nuclear weapon and a woman who's been playing them all since before they knew the game existed. The speedometer climbs, 80, 90, 100. The gap closes, 15 miles, 10, 5. Up ahead, taillights, the stolen convoy truck. Sarah checks her weapon, chambers a round. When we catch her, follow my lead, no heroics. We box her in, force her to stop, then we negotiate. And if she won't stop? Sarah doesn't answer, because they both know what happens if she won't stop. They catch up at mile marker 47. Empty highway. No witnesses. Just asphalt and darkness and 2 vehicles moving at speeds that would terrify normal people. Hayes pulls alongside. Sarah rolls down her window, aims. Stop the vehicle. This is your only warning. The truck swerves, tries to force them off the road. Hayes is ready, matches the movement, holds position. Sarah fires, not at the driver, at the tires, 3 shots. The front right tire explodes. The truck wobbles, slows, tries to maintain control, but physics is undefeated. It careens off the road, into the dirt, slides, stops. Hayes brings the Humvee around, blocks the truck's escape. They exit, weapons up, moving tactical. Driver's door opens. A woman steps out, hands raised. Even in the dark, Sarah can see she's elegant. Expensive clothes covered in dust. She doesn't look scared. She looks annoyed. Commander Callahan, You're persistent. Who are you? The woman smiles. Does it matter? I'm whoever I need to be. Today I was Agent Cross. Tomorrow I'll be someone else. Where's the warhead? The woman's smile widens. Check the truck if you don't believe me. Sarah and Hayes move to the truck. Open the rear compartment. Empty. It was never there, the woman says. I switched trucks before leaving the base. Maintenance vehicle. Already through the gate while you were chasing this decoy. My buyer backed out at the last minute. Cold feet. So I improvised. Sarah spins, weapon up, aimed at the woman's head. Call them, tell them to bring it back. Or what, you'll shoot me. The woman's laugh is genuine, sweet. Please do. Deadman switch. Biometric. If my heart stops, the real truck detonates. Right now my people are 40 miles north with enough explosives rigged to vaporize evidence. How's your math, Commander? Sarah doesn't move, doesn't blink, calculates. You're bluffing. Am I? The woman reaches into her pocket. Slow. Sarah tracks the movement. She pulls out a phone, shows the screen. A countdown timer stopped at 15 minutes. This is connected to my pulse. I die, it starts counting. 15 minutes later, your warhead is vapor and so is the evidence. Hayes whispers, Ma'am, what do we do? Sarah stares at the woman, at the phone, at the empty truck. At the fact that she's been beaten by someone smarter, faster, and more ruthless than she ever imagined. She lowers her weapon. What do you want? The woman pockets the phone. I want you to understand something. This was never about the money. My buyer canceled, panicked. So I'm giving you your warhead back. Consider it a professional courtesy. Why? Because I respect you. Because you survived when you should have died. Because in another life we might have been on the same side. And because I wanted to prove I could. She walks backward toward the tree line, never turning her back, never dropping her guard. Tell Colonel Hale I'm sorry about his base. Tell Hayes he made the right choice. Tell Bridger he should have chosen better allies. What does that mean? The woman disappears into the darkness. Her voice floats back. It means he's already dead. Loose ends get tied up, always. Sarah and Hayes stand in the silence, on an empty highway, next to an empty truck, chasing empty promises. Hayes looks at her. Do we follow? Sarah shakes her head. She's gone. We'd never catch her. So what now? Now we verify her information and pray she was telling the truth. They drive north, following instinct more than intelligence. 40 miles through darkness to coordinates Cross never gave them, but Sarah can guess. They find it, abandoned warehouse, rural, the kind of place deals get made. They approach careful, weapons ready, expecting ambush. The warehouse is empty, except for a single crate in the center, military markings, radiation symbols. Sarah opens it with shaking hands. The warhead is inside, intact, safe. She radios Hale. Sir, we have it, package recovered. Hale's relief is audible even through static. Status on the subject. Gone, sir, but she gave us the warhead. I don't understand why. Maybe she was telling the truth, Hale says. Maybe she respected you. Or maybe it's another game, Sarah replies. One we won't understand until it's too late. They secure the warhead, wait for the recovery team, stand guard over the only thing between peace and annihilation. Hayes sits on the ground, exhausted. Is it always like this? He asks. Sarah looks at him. This was Tuesday. You should see Thursday. He laughs, hollow but real. Somewhere out there, a woman who called herself Nikki Cross is becoming someone else. and knowing that the next time they meet, if they meet, the game will be different. The stakes will be higher, and someone won't walk away. The sun rises over Fort Bragg for the last time in this story, different than the other mornings, slower somehow, like it knows what's coming and wants to give everyone a few more minutes of peace before the world changes again. Sarah Callahan stands in the shower letting water hot enough to run over bruised ribs and exhausted muscles. Steam fills the small bathroom until she can barely see her own hand. That's fine. She doesn't want to see herself right now. Doesn't want to look in the mirror and face the woman who let a nuclear warhead get stolen because she trusted the wrong person. The water runs cold before she moves. She dries off, dresses in a clean uniform that feels wrong because nothing's clean anymore. Not this mission, not this base, not her. Outside her quarters, the morning formation is running. She can hear the cadence call, the rhythm of boots on gravel, the sound of men who still believe the world makes sense. Her phone rings, not encrypted, just regular, the one that connects her to the real world instead of the shadow world where people like Nikki cross live. She answers without checking the caller ID. Callahan. The voice on the other end is familiar, warm, concerned. It's her sister, calling from Oregon where life is normal and people worry about normal things like mortgage payments and school districts and whether the Blazers will make the playoffs. Sarah, you sound tired. I am. You working too hard again? Something like that. Her sister laughs. It's a good sound, genuine, the kind that reminds you why you do this job, why you put yourself between the darkness and the people who get to live in the light. Well, don't work yourself to death. You're the only sister I've got. I'll try. They talk for 5 more minutes. Small talk, weather, family gossip, their mother's birthday next month. Normal things, human things. When Sarah hangs up, she feels both better and worse. Better because she remembered what she's protecting. Worse because she knows how close she came to failing. There's a knock at her door. She opens it. Colonel Hale stands there with 2 cups of coffee and the expression of a man who hasn't slept in 30 hours. Thought you could use this. She takes the coffee. Thanks, sir. They stand in the doorway, not talking, just existing in the same space with the same weight on their shoulders. Recovery team secured the warhead, Hale says finally. It's back in the convoy, under triple guard. We're moving it out today instead of tomorrow. Different route, different time. Only 5 people know the new schedule. Am I one of them? You are now. 0600 Highway 74 West, straight shot to Kirtland. No stops, no deviations. Sarah nods. What about Bridger and Vega? Hale's expression darkens. That's the other reason I'm here. We need to talk. They walk to his office, dawn light streaming through windows, the base waking up around them. Hale closes the door, gestures to a chair. Sarah sits. Bridger and Vega are in the military hospital, Hale says. Both stable, both under arrest, but there's a problem. What kind of problem? The kind where people start dying in custody. The third man, the one you shot in the hangar, we identified him. Former Spetsnaz, Russian Special Forces, been dead officially for 3 years. Sarah's pulse quickens. Cross sent a ghost. And ghosts don't work alone. I've put Bridger in maximum isolation, 24-hour guard, Vega too, but if Cross wants them dead, she's going to try. When? Hale looks at his watch. If I were running the operation, before we can interrogate them, so probably in the next 12 hours. Sarah stands. We need to move them off base, somewhere secure. Already working on it. FBI is sending a team, but they won't be here until 1400. That's 7 hours. Bridger and Vega are vulnerable. I can help. Hale shakes his head. You're being recalled. Real NCIS is furious someone impersonated them. They want a full debrief. Washington, you have a flight at 1400. Sarah's jaw tightens. So I leave before Bridger's secure. You've done your job, Sarah. More than your job. Let the system handle the rest. The system got played by Cross. Hale doesn't argue, just looks at her with tired eyes. What do you want me to say? That you're right. You are, but you're also one person. You can't fix everything. I can try. And that's why you'll burn out before you're 40. Hale stands, walks to the window. Listen to me. You stopped the theft, saved the convoy, exposed a conspiracy. That's a win. Doesn't feel like a win, sir. It never does, not the real ones. The real wins feel like you barely survived, because you did. They stand in silence. Outside, the base continues, always continues. There's something else, Hale says. Your handler, the woman calling herself Cross, we've been digging, found some things. Like what? Like she's been setting up infrastructure for 3 years. Shell companies, false identities, insider contacts. This wasn't opportunistic, Sarah. This was planned. For what? That's what scares me. Because if stealing a nuclear warhead was just her demonstration of capability, what the hell is she planning next? Sarah thinks about the message, about Cross offering her $5 million to walk away, about respect and professional courtesy. She's recruiting, Sarah says, building a network. This whole operation was her resume. Hale nods. That's our assessment too. Which is why NCIS wants you in Washington. They have questions, lots of them. Sarah picks up her coffee, drinks. It's terrible, but it's hot. I'll go, she says, but after I make sure Bridger's safe. Hale almost smiles, stubborn. Learned from the best, sir. The military hospital is a squat concrete building on the east side of base. Sterile, efficient. The kind of place where they patch you up fast so you can get back to being useful. Sarah arrives at 0900, shows her credentials, gets waved through. Bridger is on the 3rd floor, maximum security wing, 2 MPs outside his door, both armed, both alert. Sarah approaches. The senior MP, a sergeant named Torres, straightens. Ma'am, Colonel Hale said you'd be coming. How is he? Stable, conscious, not talking, lawyers on the way. I need 5 minutes with him, alone. Torres hesitates. Ma'am, we're not supposed to. I'm not asking permission, Sergeant. I'm telling you, 5 minutes. You can watch through the window. Torres exchanges glances with his partner, nods. Yes, ma'am, 5 minutes. Sarah enters. The room is small, single bed, monitor beeping steady. Bridger lies there, bandaged, cuffed to the bed rail. He looks at her, no surprise, no fear, just flat acknowledgement. Come to gloat. Sarah pulls up a chair, sits. Come to warn you. About what? About the woman you were working for. She ties up loose ends, and right now you're a loose end. Bridger's laugh is bitter. I'm in maximum security. She can't touch me. You're in a hospital with doctors and nurses and janitors and delivery people. Any one of them could be hers. You think those 2 MPs outside will stop a professional? So what do you want me to do about it? Tell me everything. Who recruited you, how it started, what the plan was. Give me something I can use to stop her. Why would I help you? Because she's going to kill you either way. But if you cooperate, maybe you get protective custody instead of Leavenworth. Maybe you get to live. Bridger stares at the ceiling, silent. Your father, Sarah says quietly, Colonel Marcus Bridger, Fallujah, 2018, you think he was murdered? Bridger's jaw tightens. Don't talk about my father. I read the reports, the unofficial ones, the blog post that got scrubbed, about weapons smuggling, about officers selling arms, about your father finding out. That's not classified information, Bridger says. That's just shit people whisper when they think nobody's listening. Sarah leans forward. What if I told you it was true? What if I told you your father was killed because he found a conspiracy? Would you want justice? I wanted justice 7 years ago. Nobody gave a damn then. So you decided to get revenge by stealing from the very institution your father died protecting. Bridger meets her eyes. I didn't steal anything. I was going to, but you stopped me. You gave them the convoy schedule, the route, the security protocols. Because they told me they'd expose who killed my father, told me they had proof, documents, names. All I had to do was help with one shipment. And you believed them. I wanted to believe them. Bridger's voice cracks. You have any idea what it's like living with that question, every day wondering if your father died for nothing, if the people who killed him are still out there, still in uniform, still getting promoted. Sarah understands, more than he knows. I do, she says, because I made a choice once, in Kabul, held fire when I should have shot. My teammate died because of it. Then you know. I know that revenge doesn't bring them back. And I know that the people who recruited you, they don't care about justice. They care about using your pain. Bridger closes his eyes. So what happens now? Now you tell me everything, and I make sure Cross doesn't add you to her body count. Before Bridger can respond, the door bursts open. The MP Tor's weapon drawn. Ma'am, we've got a situation. Unauthorized personnel in the building. Lockdown protocol. Sarah's on her feet. Description. Female nurse's uniform, but she's not in the system. Security's trying to locate her now. Sarah draws her sidearm. Hayes, where's Hayes? Specialist Hayes. Torres looks confused. He's outside, volunteered for extra security after. Get him in here, now, and nobody else enters this room, nobody. Torres speaks into his radio. Hayes appears seconds later, sees Sarah's drawn weapon, understands immediately. Ma'am. Someone's in the building, probably here for Bridger. We need to move him. Where? Anywhere but here. Sarah moves to Bridger, uncuffs him from the bed. Can you walk? Bridger sits up, grimaces, yeah. Then move. They exit into the hallway. Torres and his partner take point. Hayes covers the rear. Sarah stays with Bridger. The hallway is empty, too empty. Hospital floors are never this quiet. Something's wrong, Hayes whispers. They reach the stairwell, start descending. Second floor, first floor. That's when they hear it, footsteps above, fast, multiple people. Torres keys his radio. Security, what's your position? Static. He tries again, no response. Comms are jammed, Sarah says, just like the hangar. They hit the ground floor. Emergency exit ahead, 50 feet. They're 20 feet from freedom when a woman steps out from a side corridor. Nurse's uniform, blonde hair, attractive, professional smile. She's holding a syringe. Gentlemen, she says pleasantly, I need to administer medication to the prisoner. Sarah's weapon comes up, step back. The woman doesn't move, just keeps smiling. This is a hospital, Commander. You can't shoot me. Think of the paperwork. Hayes raises his rifle. Ma'am, she's holding a syringe, not a weapon. We can't. The woman moves, fast, impossibly fast. She throws the syringe, not at Bridger, at Tor's. It hits his neck. He goes down, convulsing. His partner fires. 3 shots, all miss. The woman's already moving. She produces a second syringe, some kind of auto-injector, jabs it into the second MP's thigh. He drops. Hayes fires. The woman dives behind a gurney. Sarah grabs Bridger. Move. They run through the emergency exit, into morning sunlight, across the parking lot. Behind them, alarms shouting, the building going into full lockdown. They reach a Humvee, Hayes at the wheel, Sarah pushing Bridger into the back. She climbs in, slams the door. Drive. Hayes peels out, tires screaming. Sarah looks back. The woman in the nurse uniform stands in the hospital entrance, watching, not pursuing, just watching. She succeeded in causing chaos, creating confusion, making her point. Cross sent her, Bridger says, voice shaking. She told me she'd clean up loose ends. You're alive, Sarah says. That's what matters. For how long? Long enough. They drive to the command building. Hale meets them outside. He's on the phone, looks furious. FBI's been delayed, he says. Weather. They won't be here until 1800. 6 hours, Sarah says. 6 hours where Bridger's a target, and we don't have the resources to protect him properly. Put him in the brig, maximum security, no visitors. Already ordered it. Hale looks at Bridger. You're going to spend the next 6 hours in a concrete box with armed guards. Then you're FBI's problem. Bridger nods, defeated. I understand, sir. MPs arrive. Take Bridger. He looks back at Sarah as they lead him away. Thank you, he says quietly. Don't thank me yet. Stay alive first. He's gone. Sarah stands with Hale and Hayes in the morning sun. That was close, Hayes says. Too close, Hale agrees. Cross is making a statement, showing us she can reach anyone, anywhere. Sarah's phone rings. Different tone, unknown number but not blocked. She answers. The voice on the other end is familiar, female, calm. Impressive response time, Commander. You moved him before my asset could complete the task. It's Cross. Sarah motions to Hale. He immediately signals for a trace. What do you want? Cross laughs. Nothing anymore. My point's been made. I could have killed Bridger. I didn't, because I wanted you to save him, wanted you to feel like you won. This isn't a game. Everything's a game, Commander. You just don't know the rules yet, but you will. 3 months. Tel Aviv. The Continental Hotel. Room 447. We'll talk. I'm not coming. Yes, you will, because you need to understand, and I'm the only one who can explain. Explain what? Why the world is the way it is. Why people like me exist. Why people like you will never stop us. The line goes dead. Hale lowers his phone, couldn't trace it, bounced through 6 countries. Sarah pockets her phone. She invited me to Tel Aviv. Are you going? I don't know. The rest of the day passes in bureaucratic cleanup, statements, reports, debriefs. Sarah types until her fingers ache, documenting everything while her memory's fresh. At 1400 hours, she's in a government sedan heading to the airport. Hayes rides with her. He's flying to Virginia for evaluation. The phone call Sarah gave him paid off. You nervous? She asks. Terrified but excited too. Good, terror keeps you sharp. Hayes looks out the window. Ma'am, can I ask you something? Go ahead. Do you think Bridger will be okay? I think he'll be alive. Whether he'll be okay, that's up to him. And Vega. Same, they made choices. Now they live with consequences. What about us? Hayes turns to face her. We made choices too. How do we know they were the right ones? Sarah thinks about Kabul, about the family she saved and the teammate she lost, about the scar on her collarbone and the weight she carries. We don't, she says. We just make the best choice we can with the information we have and pray it's enough. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not. How do you sleep at night? Poorly, but I sleep. They reach the airport. The sedan drops Hayes at Terminal B military transport. Sarah continues to Terminal A commercial flight. Cover for action. Hayes gets out, pauses, looks back. Thank you, ma'am, for believing in me. I didn't believe in you, specialist. I observed you. You proved yourself. He smiles, salutes, walks away. Sarah watches him go, thinks about potential, about the difference between who someone is and who they could become. Her flight boards at 1500. She finds her seat. Economy. NCIS doesn't spring for first class. The plane fills. Business travelers and families. People living normal lives, going to meetings and vacations and reunions. She wonders what they'd think if they knew. If they understood how close they came to disaster. How a nuclear warhead was stolen and recovered, and they never even knew to be afraid. The plane takes off. Fort Bragg shrinks below. The base becomes geometric patterns, then nothing. She closes her eyes, tries to rest. Her phone buzzes, text message, unknown number. Congratulations on your victory, but we both know it wasn't really a victory. You reacted, I acted, that's the difference between us. See you in Tel Aviv, NC. Sarah deletes the message, puts the phone in airplane mode, tries not to think about 3 months from now. The flight to Washington is 4 hours. She spends it reviewing everything, looking for patterns, connections, anything she missed. Cross planned this for 3 years. Shell companies, false identities, inside contacts. The question is why? Sarah's conclusion: this was never about money. It was about proving capability, demonstrating what she could do, building a reputation. For what? The plane lands at Dulles at 1900. Sarah deplanes into the chaos of a major airport, thousands of people moving in organized confusion. A man in a dark suit holds a sign with her name. She approaches. Commander Callahan. That's me. This way, please. He leads her to a black SUV. Government plates, tinted windows. They drive in silence through evening traffic. Georgetown brownstone, same as before. 3rd floor, same room, but this time there are 3 people waiting. The woman from before, 60, gray hair, sharp eyes. And 2 men, both 50s, both with the bearing of people who have given orders that got people killed. Commander Callahan, sit. Sarah sits. The woman slides a folder across. Sarah opens it. Photographs, documents, intelligence reports. Everything about Nikki Cross, or rather, the woman who currently calls herself that. Real name unknown, the woman says. Born somewhere in Eastern Europe, recruited young, trained, deployed, went independent after the Soviet collapse. Now she works for whoever pays. Sarah flips through photos. Different hair, different clothes, same eyes. How many operations? Confirmed, 43, suspected, over 100. She's the best in the world at what she does. And what exactly does she do? Whatever someone pays her to do: theft, assassination, espionage, political manipulation. If it's illegal and requires skill, she's done it. Sarah closes the folder. Why are you telling me this? Because she invited you to meet her, and we want you to go. Sarah expected this. Doesn't make it easier to hear. You want me to be bait. We want you to be an intelligence officer, which sometimes means being bait. And if she kills me? The woman doesn't hesitate. Then you die in service to your country. Your family will be told you died in training. Your name will go on a wall no one sees. Sarah stands, walks to the wall, stares at nothing. What do you want from this meeting? Intelligence, who she's working for, what she's planning, where her network is. She's the key to dozens of unsolved cases. And if she doesn't tell me, then you walk away, we get nothing, but at least we tried. Sarah turns around. You're asking me to trust someone who just tried to steal a nuclear weapon. We're asking you to use her interest in you. She thinks you're like her. Prove her wrong. Get inside her head. Bring us actionable intelligence. Sarah walks back to the table, sits. I need time to think. You have 3 months, same as her timeline. When you decide, call this number. The woman slides a card across, plain white, just a phone number. Sarah pockets it. Am I dismissed? You were never here. This meeting never happened. Sarah walks to the door, hand on the knob. One more thing, the woman says. Sarah pauses. Nikki Cross is good, maybe the best I've ever seen, but she's human. She makes mistakes, and every human wants the same thing. What's that? To be understood, remember that. Sarah leaves, out into Georgetown twilight. The SUV is gone, she's alone. She starts walking, not toward anything, just away. Thinking. 3 months until Tel Aviv, 3 months to decide. Her phone rings, hail. Sarah. Sir. Thought you'd want to know. FBI took custody of Bridger and Vega at 1800. No incidents. They're safe. Thank you, sir. Also thought you'd want to know Vega's talking. Cooperating. Says he has documentation, financial records, names. He kept receipts. Smart. Yeah, Hale pauses. Sarah, I know they asked you to do something. I can hear it in your voice. They want me to meet Cross. Are you going to? I don't know yet, sir. Well, whatever you decide, be careful. Brave and careful are different things. Yes, sir. Call me when you can. Let me know you're alive. Will do. She hangs up, keeps walking. The monuments appear. Lincoln, Vietnam Wall, Pentagon. She stops at the Vietnam Wall, touches the cold stone, finds a name she knew once. A soldier who died before she was born but whose sacrifice made her possible. All the names, all the lives, all the choices that led to this moment. Sarah pulls out her phone, opens notes, types. Tel Aviv, 3 months, decision pending. She saves it, puts the phone away. The sun sets over Washington, gold and red and purple, beautiful and terrible. Sarah thinks about Hayes, about his question, how do we know we made the right choice? The answer is simple and impossible. You don't know, you can't know, you just choose and live with it. She walks toward her hotel, past tourists and locals, past monuments to the dead and memorials to the living. And she makes her decision. She'll go to Tel Aviv. Not because she wants to. Because she needs to. Because understanding your enemy is the first step to defeating them. Or becoming them. And Sarah needs to know which one she is. 3 months from now, she'll sit across from Nikki Cross in a hotel room and they'll talk. Really talk. About the state of the world and the cost of courage, and whether the line between them is as clear as Sarah thinks. But tonight she's enough. Tonight, under stars that have watched warriors for millennia, Sarah Callahan is exactly who she trained to be. Someone who protects the light by walking through the dark. Someone who knows the hardest battles aren't fought with weapons. They're fought with choices. And she just made hers. She pulls out the card, the one with the phone number, looks at it in the streetlight. Then she makes a call. The woman answers on the second ring. "I'll do it," Sarah says. "Tell Aviv 3 months I'll meet her." "Good, we'll be in touch with details." "One condition." The woman waits. "If this goes wrong," Sarah says, "if she kills me or turns me or whatever nightmare scenario you're planning for, you tell my sister the truth, not the cover story, the truth." The woman is quiet for a long moment. "You have my word." Sarah hangs up, pockets the phone. Keeps walking. Somewhere out there, Nikki Cross is smiling, because she knew Sarah would come. They always do. The quiet operators, the ones who walk into darkness hoping to find light. Sarah doesn't know what she'll find in Tel Aviv. But she knows why she's going. Not to catch a spy. To understand one. And maybe, in understanding, find the answer to the question that's haunted her since Kabul. Am I still the good guy? Or did I cross a line somewhere and just haven't admitted it yet? 3 months to prepare. 3 months to train. 3 months to become someone who can sit across from evil and not blink. Fort Bragg is behind her now. The convoy is safe. The warheads are secure. Bridger and Vega will face justice. Hayes will become an operator or wash out. Either way, he'll know he tried. And Sarah Callahan will fly to Tel Aviv and sit down with a woman who steals nuclear weapons and calls it business. We'll have a conversation that could change everything or nothing. We'll come back changed. Or won't come back at all. But that's 3 months away. Tonight she checks into her hotel, orders room service, eats a meal that tastes like nothing. Lies in bed staring at the ceiling. Thinking about her sister in Oregon, about her mother turning 64 next month, about the family she protects by staying far away. About Hale and his coffee and his tired eyes, and the way he still believes in something after 30 years. About Hayes and his fear and his courage, and the choice he made to hit her, and the choice he made to save her. About Bridger and his rage and his father, and the 7 years he spent carrying grief that turned to poison. About all the choices that led to this moment. And about the choice she just made. 3 months. Tel Aviv. Room 447. A conversation that could change the world, or just one woman's understanding of it. Sarah closes her eyes. Tomorrow the questions return. But tonight she's enough. A quiet operator in a loud world. Someone who chose duty over safety and truth over comfort, and one more mission over the peace she probably deserves, but will never claim. Tomorrow she'll start preparing. Tonight she sleeps. And dreams of a hotel room in a city she's never been to, sitting across from a woman who might be her enemy or her mirror. 3 months. The clock is ticking. But for now, just for now, Sarah Callahan allows herself to rest. To be human. To remember why she does this. And to prepare for what comes next. Because it always comes next. The mission. The choice. The moment when you have to decide what kind of person you are. Sarah Callahan already knows what kind of person she is. The kind who walks into the darkness. The kind who faces the monster. The kind who comes back. Or dies trying. 3 months. Tel Aviv. The quiet operator's next mission. And the answer to the question that's been haunting her since she took that first hit in the dark. Am I strong because I don't fight back? Or am I just afraid? She'll find out. In 3 months. In a hotel room. Across from the woman who proved that restraint can be a weakness. And that sometimes, the only way to win is to become what you're fighting. Sarah doesn't know if she's ready. But ready or not, she's going. Because that's what quiet operators do. They answer the call. Every time. No matter the cost.